Ah, ah. Hello there, vinyl community. This is Rich at Embarrassment of Riches, and I'm here to share my December finds that I got. This includes all the way leading up to Christmas. I did a little bit of shopping, and some things got delivered after Christmas that I had ordered previously, some of them a week prior, some of them months and months prior that finally showed up. But it was, all in all, a great December for vinyl. I am also working on the 2026 vinyl tag that has prompts from the inimitable David Atkinson. There's a lot of questions, so I am consistently amazed when I see somebody get those done in less than a half hour. More often than not, it's nearly 40 minutes or even longer than that. I will definitely try to streamline mine as much as possible. There's no promises, but I'm going to do my best. But here we are with December's records, and I'd like to start off really quick with I know that I've often mentioned how I'm not trying to find myself collecting 7-inch 45 RPM records as well as everything else I collect. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me to have to get up and sit back down and change the record every 3 fucking minutes or flip it. I'm not into that. But there are some records that are historically important to me. If I see one in a picture sleeve, I mean, this is generally older records, of course, but if I see one in a picture sleeve that I think is in good condition and I just like to look at it and the price isn't too crazy, I'll buy that. And I have done that lately, but I will still pre order some 7-inch records from artists that I enjoy that put out that format on a regular basis. And one of those people, quite often, is Aesop Rock. And this is his latest 7-inch that got delivered, I think, at the beginning of December. Cannot remember. But I did the pre order because it is Aesop Rock. And this one is called Roadwork Rappin'. And this is his second record, to my knowledge at least, of music that he has made geared towards children or adults with childish tendencies like myself or himself, I guess. The first one was the incredibly great Long Legged Larry, which became a thing, really. There was really cool merch for it. There was a stuffed animal version. It basically looks a lot like Aesop Rock, but Long Legged Larry was quite a runner. So the plush had a headband. I think they also sold headband and wristbands like a runner would use. And that was a pretty cool little fairy tale kind of story. And Roadwork Rappin', if you haven't heard it, mainly talks about the big machines and the people that work on fixing roads or creating roads. Now, I do not know how many of you were lucky enough to raise children. I was lucky and I had two sons about 6 years apart, so I got to really see that bright light that shines when they learn new things or see new things. And one thing that drives my little boys crazy when they were very, very young was big machinery, just bulldozers, cranes, and etc. Mainly, it was the trash truck because that was the one big machine that they got to see every week, and they would both come running to the window just to watch the trash truck work. So the fascination might be universal. And this one has the beautiful artwork. I don't know if it'll show quite well up here. I'll try to zoom in on that, but that is by the one and only Justin Coro Kaufman, who has done a lot of work for Aesop Rock's album covers. And he recently did the Black Hole Soubrette cover, which is insane. Yeah, he also did, as I said, the cover for one of my favorite all time record covers, and that is the Spirit World Field Guide from Aesop Rock as well, a few years back. And this is definitely not going to be done justice on this screen, so I might insert as high res a possible picture as I can. But this thing is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. Throw out the gatefold there for anybody who can check this out. It is gorgeous. Inside's no joke too, but yeah, I think the outside is just something. I really wish they had made a poster or a print of this. If they had, then I have not seen it. But yeah, this would definitely go up on the wall if there was a high res copy of it. Come on, Justin Kaufman, where's the print? Help a dude out. Yeah, sorry for that digression, but I'll show that record cover off whenever I can to anybody who's interested. So yeah, and this is a die cut 7-inch made to look like a big wheel that you would see on one of the big machines that work on roads. That is a really cool die cut. And because Aesop Rock will definitely give you enough things for your money if you want, there was also this gem. This is the Roadwork Rappin' coloring book with art by Justin Kaufman. And you can just see the incredible range. Like, he can do childlike color book drawings if he wants, and he can go as high concept as the Spirit World Field Guide or the Black Hole Soup Rat cover, which is I don't know if he did it on a computer, or I'll have to show you a picture of that as well. But the dude has insane range, and it's just cool. It's an actual coloring book, and there's things in here that look like you would see in a normal coloring book, except for there's not a lot of pterodactyls flying around when people are working on the road. Yeah, every single one of these has something really interesting. There's a word search as well. And, like I said, this is a picture of a guy bulldozing, but there's a little tiki idol in there. That's pretty cool. Yeah, this is just sick. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to try to get this as close as I can to the camera. But wow. Really, really, really great art. And how many of your favorite artists put out a coloring book last year? And before I do get into the rest of the albums that I purchased this month, I will pick up one more 7-inch record here to show you guys that I did find at a really great price. And this is kind of what I would imagine the focus of, if I do become a 7-inch record collector, what it would actually be. So if I were to genuinely have a focus for that kind of collection, I think I would at least start with the 7-inch records that I enjoy the most, which would be the late 70s to maybe late 80s Southern California punk rock. And there were plenty of 45 RPM 7-inch records from that time, because that was the most utilitarian form of putting out your music as cheaply as you possibly could, because there were no labels signing these bands. Like, it took a long time, and mainly it just required these bands to learn how to start their own labels and print their own albums. But most all of them started with the 7-inch format. And this is one I picked up, probably the first of many. And this is California Uber Alles from the Dead Kennedys. This is a second pressing from 1980 of one of their greatest songs. I'm so happy to have this one. This is definitely much more affordable than its original first printing cousin that came out in 1979. Yeah, so if there was a way for me to do it, I would go for that Southern California punk rock focus, which would leave the Descendants, Black Flags. Dead Kennedys aren't Southern California. The Germs. I mean, there's a lot of really good bands that would keep years of collecting would take for to fill that collection up. But yeah, slowly building up a collection of these damn things, even when I didn't really want to. But yeah, I'm not too torn up about that. And speaking of not waiting for a record label to sign you to put out your own music, here is one band who did just that and created the wonderful Epitaph Records. This is Against the Grain from Bad Religion. This is 1990. This is an original pressing. I have been working on original pressing collection of Bad Religion for many years now, because I'm kind of looking what I would consider to be the right price to do this. And for some reason, my definition of what the right price is differs a lot from record stores and sellers online. But I did find this one for what I consider to be a very fair price, and really leaves me only a few, maybe two of the original, maybe 5 to 10 album run of Bad Religion. They have been around for 45 years at this point. So there's a few records, but I have most of them. And yeah, this was my first exposure to Bad Religion on this record. I bought this one on CD in 1994. So there you go. That's a lesson for all of us. If you're willing to wait, you can get a pretty much original pressing collection at your price if you're willing to wait 30 years plus. Very nice. This is such a good album. And I do agree with the seller that this is on very good plus vinyl. It looks really sharp. I'm always amazed when records this old and this niche are in great condition. Yet another one here that I have been looking for many years at what I consider my right price, which tells you why it takes so fucking long for me to pick up records, because I really try to stay in where I want to pay for it. Years and years ago when I first started collecting, I would find myself overpaying or being involved in auctions, and you get the bug and you just keep going $1 more, $1 more, and you find yourself way overshot on what you had intended on paying. That's happened way too many times. But this one here, They Might Be Giants' 1986 debut record. Sometimes we will call this one the Pink Album. I have seen this one in stores for about twice as much as I ended up paying for this particular copy. So yeah, I'm pretty tickled about that. This is not necessarily my favorite They Might Be Giants album, which is Flood, but that it may only be because I'm much more familiar with Flood than I am with this one. I mean, I know Don't Let's Start and She Was a Hotel Detective. There's a lot of great songs on this one. Hope That I Get Old Before I Die. Everything Right Is Wrong Again. I am very, very happy to have this one. And yeah. The vinyl itself came in a paper sleeve, which we're going to rectify shortly. And this is quite beautiful vinyl with Picture of the Boys right there on the center of the label. Yeah. I'm going to play this one tonight. And next up here, I was very glad to see the pre-order show up for this. This is the only time I've ever seen this on vinyl. And this takes me back to my heyday of buying compilation records on CD at the time in the 90s over at Mad Platter in Riverside, California, which sadly is gone. But this is DGC Rarities Volume 1. Now, Geffen Company is one with a pretty deep catalog of great artists. I initially bought this one because it had the Einstein on the Beach for an Eggman from Counting Crows, and I was a very, very big fan of that first record. I still am. I still love that first album, August and everything after. But because the label is so deep, there were also cuts on here from Weezer, Nirvana, Sonic Youth. Who else was on here? Hole, Beck, and the Sundays are on here. That was a good song too. And that Sunday song, this used to be the only place you could get it. I don't know still if that's available anywhere else. But this is a really good overall compilation, and it definitely brought back the nostalgia, which is what made me jump at the chance to buy it. Oh, and Teenage Fan Club opens the fucking thing. Talk about stacked with people. This is so good. And the Nirvana song on here is called Pay to Play, which is a early version of what ended up being Stay Away that would come out later. This is just really, really cool. I think this might have been the last compilation that I was excited for when I was at the record store 30 years ago and grabbed. I didn't really get anything compilation-wise after that. I really kind of stopped buying CDs after that just for financial reasons of being young and broke. Yeah, this is a great one. I don't remember if there was ever a volume 2 that came out, because this is noted as volume 1 like there were plans to do so. I can't tell you for sure whether or not that happened. I'll have to look that up. So let's see what this bad boy looks like. I think it was reported to be on clear vinyl. Yeah, well, there you go. That is pretty clear. That's kind of like a green tinge. So that's like the Coke bottle clear. But you get a good look at it. I will definitely check and see how this one sounds. But wow, this does bring back a lot of memories. And yeah, if you don't know that, Counting Crows song on here is pretty dope. Yeah, I kind of sometimes will reflect and miss the days of when you could buy these compilations with unreleased tracks, and then you could make a tape for a friend, and you would be able to include a song on there from their favorite artist or band that they had never heard before, and they'd get all freaked out about it and happy. That was cool. I was the guy that made them tapes. Yeah. I have a feeling that a lot of us here in the vinyl community were the people that were the ones to make that tape for their friends. Awesome. And coming up next is one that is now considered a classic. This is the first record and EP from MGMT. This is Time to Pretend. And this is a 6-song EP, initial debut from them. It's also got Kids on it, which is another one of their very famous tracks. And this version of Time to Pretend on here differs from the one that's on the original album. So if you don't know, you can have both, or you can have like the newest one, which is the one that most people are familiar with. This is a really good EP, but I must say it's got to have the fucking ugliest album artwork I have ever seen in my life. Man, this, oof. I mean, I know somebody recently did a vinyl tag on cover art, and I don't know if it included the worst you've ever seen. But yeah, man, this is just nastiness. This is not cool at all. But the music is nice. And the record itself is on some pretty stylish, I don't remember what they called it, but that is a really nice, that's like a shade of violet there. I mean, that is super cool. Lavender, violet, magenta? Yeah, and I did order 2 of these so that I could have one and my youngest son could have one for his collection. He is a very big fan of MGMT as well. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Well, except for the cover. The cover's got so much wrong with it. And more often than not, I will generally get at least one record from the Interscope Vinyl Collective delivered. They have had a lot of delays lately. So between October and December, I think I got 4 or 5 finally delivered that had been delayed. But I am a big fan of the Vinyl Collective. I really like what they're doing, and Interscope has a hugely deep roster of awesome records by incredible artists. Although every couple of months there'll be one that I don't generally really want, and I have not had any problems at all unloading that record for what more than I spent for it very, very often. And yeah, they delivered this D12, the Dirty Dozen, which is an offshoot group, Eminem and his friends. I am not a fan of Eminem. Yeah, so that one's gone. What came after that D12 one is one that I'm a bit more interested in, and that is Celebrity Skin from Hole. I did not really enjoy this record all that much when it first came out, and we're talking 30 years. So I believe I am very much due for a re-listen. I know a lot of people with great taste do really enjoy this record. So yeah, I'm going to give it a spin and see what I think of it. And it really does look like, as usual, the Interscope Vinyl Collective really did this up. This is a super strong looking gatefold. The records themselves, they're on regular black, which is what I prefer as far as vinyl is concerned. And I believe that's alternate art on the cover of the gatefold there, but they did also include this little ditty, which I believe to be the original album cover art. So you can switch out and have whichever one you want, which I really like. What did kind of suck is the many months ago, I think in September, they had said that they were going to release American Psycho from the Misfits, which is awesome. It's you rarely ever see anybody outside of the regular companies doing Misfits records. And this is, although, you know, not a Glenn Danzig Misfits record, it's one that Misfits fans really love. And that one also came with a chance to pre-order a 24 by 36 glow-in-the-dark poster of the album cover, which has got me written all over it. That thing, I would hang that in any room in my house because I'm that guy. If you were ever here, you'd see I got interesting and fun art all over the walls. That poster has been delayed for like 4 months now, and I guess they're saying they're going to deliver it next week, which they've said 3 times already, I believe. So I don't have a whole lot of faith that it's happening this week. I know they will eventually do it. I don't know. They haven't been too honest about what the production delays have been. The record itself was late by over a month, and I'll probably show that one on the next one. Yeah, I think I'll show that on the next vinyl installment, just so I don't hit with too many of the Interscope Vinyl Collective things. And to close this one out here, and I appreciate anybody who's hung around this far, I'm going to do a quick box set-ish roundup for some of the things I've got that they call box sets, but I don't normally. Okay. I think a 3 LP release is not a box set. You can make it look boxy. If you put it in a box, that's a box set. But most often you're going to find a 3 LP release in just a thick gatefold with another record thrown in. I'm fine with that. Just call it what it is. Regardless. This one obviously made my heart sing because if anybody's watched my channel before, you know how I feel about the great late Jim Croce. And this right here is called The Definitive Jim Croce. It's a 3 LP set comprising of the 3 LPs that came out while he lived. You Don't Mess Around with Jim, Life and Times, and I Got a Name. It's on 3 different color vinyls. I believe it's on blue, tangerine, and bone colored. Now I find out after I see the pre-order for this thing that it was originally released in its first pressing in 2023. How I did not know about that, nobody notified me. I should be on some kind of Croce watch list because I think I should have been notified about these things. And as I said, this is the 3 LP of his best known records. There was his first record, the sadly not repressed any time in the last 40 years, Facets, which I would absolutely love to have. And you could actually call this a fucking box then because it would have been 4 LPs. But if you are a casual fan of Jim Croce, which I am not, but if you are a casual, you could consider yourself fully Croce'd.
Oh.
After buying this one because there are the 3 albums and they're all super. Yeah, I hope this one sounds really good. I have all of the originals of these and they sound great. And I just bought this because I'm an addict. And this bad boy here could definitely be filed under, of course. I had made a video maybe 8 months ago about how I had searched forever for Duran Duran's Decade compilation, which was released once 35 years ago and never repressed again for whatever odd reason, because it's not like they're a small band with only 1 or 2 hits. Decade is top to bottom incredible sound. Like, it's Duran Duran. I shouldn't have to explain anything to you guys. So I wait years and years, decades, to finally break down and just buy that record because I had grown sick of waiting for it. It had generally been in about $100 or above when I'd find it in good condition. That's why it was super easy to walk away from all those times. But I did finally, just serendipitously, I'd always had it as an eBay search that I'd saved, and I would get notified whenever it showed up, but people want $200 for it or more. And somebody was just doing an auction from 99 cents up, and I won for way below Discogs median, which is always a bonus and it does not happen often enough. Not in my life. So of course I finally get that. I cherish it. I love it. I give it a special place on my shelves. I display it once in a while. I've played it for sure. And then a couple months later, what do we get? We get a pre-order notice for Duran Duran's Greatest Hits, which is basically just a super expanded edition of that album Decade, which Rich had waited for so long and finally got. But yeah, I can't complain too much. It's much more updated. There's at least 6 or 7 songs here that are not on Decades. So you get great music. It just seemed really strange that I waited so long to get that one record that had all those songs in one place, because I have all the Duran Duran records here, but to have them all on one record is dreadfully convenient. It saves me a lot of getting up and down and changing the record. But yeah, I mean, come on, man. It's Duran Duran, custom inner sleeves. Of course, the whole package looks awesome. They care a lot about what they do for their fans. And on this nice white vinyl, looks pretty cool. The whole package itself, very classy. No complaints other than just that mild one at the beginning. I'll get over it. The record sounds awesome. I was going to start by describing this one as the box set that started it all for me, which is a big phrase, but it's not accurate because I never owned this box set. It was just the first one that I remember hearing about that I wanted. And that would have been in 1992. And wow, that's a long time ago. But I do remember the CD book of this coming out, and it was revelatory for myself and everyone we knew, because these records were very, very hard to find. So we had to have everything on CD. But this is the vinyl box set for Songs of Freedom from Bob Marley and the Wailers. Now, the original box, released in 1992, I believe was only a Jamaican release. I don't know if any copies made their way to the States. That version was an 8 LP, and if you're lucky and find it at all, it's going to be $400 or more easily. This one, I don't know what the dude was thinking. I don't care if the box kind of looks like shit and the corners are beat. That's a very funny reason to discount a box as much as this dude did when I bought it. So I'm grateful he did. It's a little tossed, but I mean, it still holds the records. But when the records are this awesome, and it is, the discography of Bob Marley and the Wailers, all these are double LPs. And every one of these records looks and plays perfect. Just solid. Like, these gatefolds and everything are super, super clean. And this box took the brunt of all the damage. And the booklet is perfectly intact with wonderful photos. Just so good. I'm so glad to have this. Now, if they would only do one of these box set treatments for the catalog of Peter Tosh, I would be very happy. That is something that is sorely missing from my collection, because although I do have all those Peter records, I would like a compilation. I don't even care if they mix the songs up, whatever they do, because as it stands, I believe there's only been some decent compilations of Peter Tosh's records. Regardless, super happy. That's one box set and one quasi box set and one double LP, that Duran Duran one. Just a stellar way to end the year with some of my all-time favorite music. And this month I've found records that I've been searching for decades at quite a discount from what the Discogs median will tell you, which I understand isn't the greatest rubric to go by, but it's a ballpark, and that's generally what most of your sellers are really going to be searching for. They'll sell on the Discogs high, but I will more often look to pay the Discogs median. Hopefully in between there's a bit of play, and we can make a deal. So yes, thanks for hanging out. It was a great December. I've got another stack of stuff that's just shown up in the last 2 to 3 weeks. I hope everyone in the vinyl community and beyond had a wonderful holiday season, surrounded by loved ones, and I hope that all of you got some of the records that you've been really, really looking for. Oh, I gotta interrupt and add this one that I had talked about in my last video or video before, when I had mentioned that I am not feeling last year's Record Store Black Friday. There was only one record that I was looking for, and it is the boxed set of the singles from Copper Blue from Sugar. I am a huge Bob Mould fan. I don't know if that's been apparent through any of my other videos, but the one thing I was looking for, and I found it under what they had considered the manufacturer's suggested retail price. There was just a store in Texas that was dying to get rid of it, and I helped them out. It was really cool. So yeah, sorry, I had to throw that one in there before I forgot. That is a boxed set, not a box set. I will argue with you on that, and I will fucking fight you. Anyway, thanks for coming around. I hope everybody's doing well. I am getting ready to finish my version, or my answers, for David Atkinson's Vinyl Tag 2026. There are so many other great tags going on right now. I don't know how you all do it. I really don't. But I love it, and I love watching the videos, and I will see you all next time. "12" single? No. Attend the EP. A very, very big fan of fuck. That at least my boys and a few others that I had run into, I don't run into boys. And it is on Very Good Plus. Doink.